Go download my free legato course right now and learn to play fast in the fastest way possible. Oh wow, yeah, I just need to, so how do you go from being a guy who can play stuff, who can play songs, chords, who can play licks, or, learn a solo and then play it, to becoming a musician? Those are two very different things, and for me, the definition of both is one who can replicate stuff on his instrument, right, playing a piano, looking at the notes, and then putting your fingers in the right places. To me, that's not a musician, but that's because I'm not from the classical realm, right? Because when you're a classical musician, you're basically very good at reading notes and playing them on your instrument, and then adding emotion and the right kind of details to them. But the musicianship of being a guitarist who can go into a band and then deliver the goods, right? It's not enough to just be able to play stuff, right? Because you have to be able to produce some cool details. Even if you're playing in a cover band, you have to play solos, right? And you have to be able to add something. Or if you're playing in a band where you all contribute to the songs, you have to be able to create a riff, right? For the song, you have to be able to create a solo. You have to be able to add details in the chorus and the verse and a little guitar part here, a little melodic thing. Right? And how do you do that? How do you actually be creative with music? And that's another level of enjoyment, of pleasure. That's the most important thing for me, you could say, because this is all about pleasure, right? We're doing it because it feels awesome. And it's just another level. And if you stay on the monkey see, monkey do, I see something being played and I want to be able to play it. If you stay on that level, then you can get so much pleasure. But once you get to the point where you really understand on a conceptual level what happens in music, then you can be creative. And more importantly, you can learn from everything you play. And in this video, I'm going to show you how you can expand your skill level every time you play something new. Most people don't do that. Most people just, learn a new song like, okay. Sorry, I'm not too good at this. I need to put down my pick. And so on, something like this, right? We learn, as I did in the beginning, where to put our fingers, and it sounds cool, and it's really, pleasure. But we have no idea what's going on, right? We have no idea how to create something like this. And we have no idea how to look at this and then learn from it. And I'm just going, in this little video here, I'm just going to do one example that's really quick, but just to take a riff like this. Right? Whether you like this or not doesn't matter. It's just a matter of looking at something, saying, now I can play it. But have you become any better? Well, you might have learned a little bit more of technique, right? Whatever. But do you actually know what's going on here? That's interesting. What is that sound that we're playing? Elevate the stuff into your up to your frontal lobe, so you actually increase the knowledge you have and what you're able to do in the future. Because if you know what's going on here, you can use it in all kinds of areas. You can copy the guys without anybody hearing it. You can learn from everyone because you have boxes to put it in. And, let's just go ahead and look at the boxes here. Because if I know a little bit about scales, for instance, right, I can say, okay, what scale are we using here? What is that produces that dark sound, right? Right, so let's say, okay, I'm starting with an E here, right? And I got the octave up here in the 8th fret or 7th fret. That's just the same note. And then we go for the G there, and I can see just by the shape of it that that's the minor third, which is the second note of a minor chord. So now that's actually the sound of an E minor chord without the 5th, without that note, right? Because I know my theory, right? Or the mechanics of it, right? So I got half an E minor chord. Okay, so I know that. That's a good start for the dark sound, right? Okay, I also know that I have an open deep string ringing out. That's also conceptual, right? That's a concept. I can could use that in another riff, just that little concept. Right? And start creating my own riffs with the same kind of in the bottom there, because the open E string sounds really cool and allows me to do different stuff. That's also mechanics of the guitar. So, we got the minor third, so I got an E. Okay, and then I got that note going on. That's really, right, that's really, if I add that to the two other notes, what is that note? Oh, it's a sharp fourth or a flat five, I can see, because I know it's not hard, this stuff. This is easy, simple stuff. It's the tritone interval, really. So now I know that. That's cool sound from Enter Sandman with Metallica. I can reproduce that in another setting. Create another rhythm around it, and boom, I got a new lick like that instantly, right? Okay, so let's look at it. I thought this was E minor, but that scale there, let's just say it's the E minor scale. But then I get to that note. It could be a Locrian, it could actually be the F major scale. You don't have to follow this. Just listen to my thoughts here. Because I see the fretboard shapes of the scale. I say, okay, what could this be? Okay, this could be Locrian, okay. I'm just playing the scale along with the E. That could be that would make sense. Okay, let's move on then. Let me just add some distortion in. And then it says, but wait a minute. That's the F sharp. So now I have, down here I go. So now I got a normal whole tone interval after the E. So this looks like an E minor scale. But then I got that scale. The only shape that this fits into is the diminished scale. Did they create a riff based on the E diminished scale? It fits very, very well, right? Because that's really dark. So let's just. No, that's not. So now I know that you can actually use the E diminished scale for a riff. So let's just see what else we can. They're using the first 6 notes of that scale, right? Normally for Metallica, they're very fond of the Phrygian. But here, so now I know what's going on, right? I can also look at the rhythm and say, it says boom, boom, hey, ho, hey, ho. And I can feel the subdivisions because I know how rhythm works. I know we have subdivisions running in the background, and those subdivisions then has accents, which are the notes. So we go ba 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 do da do da da, kind of create that jumpy feeling, right? It's like it's halting. It's like it's an engine running on, we're not moving anywhere, which is. Right, now we're AC/DC stuff like. Right, same rhythm. Boom, boom, ba do do, ga go. Right. Do 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 do. Right, and so I can say, oh, I really like this riff, if that's the case, right? And then I can, with my conceptual understanding of what goes on, I can put stuff into boxes like diminished scale. I can take the rhythm and say, this sounds great. It sounds like there's an expectancy, right? Right? That's in that riff. and then we're going, right? And that's the cool thing about that riff. One of the cool things is that it's like we're going somewhere. Well, we're building it up, right? And then, and then the drum comes in, and we got that, So this is the hair is actually, because what is this? Goosebumps, right? Because of that development as I'm explaining this. And that emotion, that feeling in my body now has concepts to it. So both on the rhythm part that I can use with another scale, applied to the blues scale, sounds AC/DC like suddenly, right? I can take the scale, the idea of the apply another rhythm to it, another tempo. Right, and get that same wacky sound, right? So suddenly I learned a ton from that little riff. And of course, I recommend that you click the link below this video and go check out our 8-week course, which is amazing. I would so want, or wish for myself that I had the opportunity to go into something when I was building my skills. Somebody who could just cut and just say, what is it that I need to learn in order to be, the best kind of musician I can be on my instrument. Instead of going back into classical music theory and talking about, modes in the most, incomprehensible way there is. It's music theory, or the mechanics of music, is so filled with just strange things that makes it so hard to understand. So people who do understand it can be very academic about it. Oh, so I have a degree in music theory. A degree in music theory? It's simple mechanics. Get over it, right? But if you put enough weird words to it, enough inconsistencies when it comes to naming stuff, and you just take it, just run wild with it. Oh, so the third degree of the... Well, what are you talking about? We need concepts. We need boxes to put stuff in. But there's a limit to how much you need to focus on it. Some people just forget about playing guitar altogether, right? They just go all into music theory and become so good at it that they forget that, music theory is nothing without the application of it, right? It has no value in and of itself unless you look at it as a game by itself, right? And we don't want to fall into that trap. We want to extract the stuff we need to use in order to become the best kind of musician we can possibly become, and that's it. We need to cut all the bull so we can really get there faster. So go check that out, and we'll see you tomorrow in the next video. Stay tuned.